Hey everybody, it's me again. Today I'd like to talk about injuries, working while you're injured. And I won't lie, I've been injured before and continue to work out because working while you're injured is kind of a sore subject, I guess. Like, nobody really wants to talk about their injuries, especially when they're continuing to work out and have the chance of actually hurting themselves even more. I have been injured the last couple weeks, so I've been working out a lot, still injured. Not injured in the way that everybody thinks. When you're seriously injured, like something is torn or pulled really bad, you should probably not be working out, especially that area. You need time for that to heal. I have been lucky to not be injured in that way, but there has been times that I have been injured that are pretty serious. Some of the things I like to consider when I'm injured is changing things up. So if I'm injured, usually lately it's been my hip flexor that I've been injured on. It's kind of my hip area. It's overworked quads basically, and that's from doing a lot of squatting and glute activity basically. So I've kind of been giving myself a little bit of a break from squatting and trying to focus on lunges more. And that's one thing you can do, is just switch it up. So you don't have to, like, you're kind of like forced to do something different, but doing something different will actually be an amazing thing to embrace. So I've been doing a lot of lunges, and it's been a killer for my legs, and I'm loving it actually right now. So it's a great opportunity to take advantage of new workout routines or isolating different groups of muscles, because you're hurt, so you don't really want to work the area that heavily that you're injured. You want to just kind of work around it. A lot of my issues, most people don't know, is that I have bad back. So a lot of my pain will be hip related or shoulder related in my neck. And so a lot of times I will have to do a lot of exercises that kind of warms it up. My thing is, I will try to target the areas around it or beneath it. So if I have a problem in my neck, I usually will target my shoulders. If I have a problem in my shoulders, I'll target my lats. And, you know, if I have a problem in my lower back, I'll target my glutes. Because by strengthening the bottom muscles, it'll relieve the strain on the upper ones. So that's kind of like my trick when I'm like working out. A lot of times too is, you know, I'll be out of alignment because I don't go to a chiropractor every week. I probably should, but I do that kind of things on my own. So what I'll do is kind of like crack my back over the back of a chair, or I have someone give me kind of like the elbow deep massage into my areas that are really hurting or tight. If I'm completely out of whack, I actually do a yoga kind of stretch routine. So that I will show in this video, as well as a little bit of what I kind of do. That is like my last resort. If I am completely out of alignment and the working out and stretching or targeting different areas around my body is not working, yoga has always been kind of the go-to thing that I will do to get my body back into alignment, because for some reason it just always works to kind of get that nice long stretch and taking time to focus on what is actually happening beneath the surface. So I don't really get extensive into yoga. I'm not a yoga master or really into a lot of yoga moves. There's certain ones that I like to do just to kind of realign my body, and then also do a little bit more stretching than usual so that I can eventually, I mean, it's not a miracle cure. It doesn't work right away, but within the next day, I can feel that there is a difference in that my body has realigned slightly, and then continue to do that somewhat through time, and you'll get back to where you want to be, I feel like. When I work out injured, I tend to go lighter in weight, and I try and take things a little bit easier too, because I really don't want to aggravate that area even more. So, I mean, I tend to like go in injured, but then, you know, a lot of people I've talked to too say that when you get done working out or finished with another exercise, that area seems to be less painful. So, I mean, they tell you not to work out while you're injured, but there's a lot of times that people are injured for a reason, because they're out of alignment, or, you know, they were using improper form is usually sometimes what happens when you get injured. So it's best to try and correct that form, or correct that area that is weak, and try to strengthen it so that you don't get injured again. A lot of people say that usually that they could be injured sometimes, and then they won't do anything for like 2 or 3 days, and then they'll realize it's not going away. And as soon as they get back into the gym or start working out again, getting some form of blood flow to that area, they'll start feeling better. And so it's important to continue working out, but to know how to work out when you're not feeling 100%. I have injured myself quite a few times over the years. I've built up quite a bit of endurance, but you know, I forget to work certain areas again, and then when I go back to doing that, then I start getting injured again. So I have to re-strengthen those areas and figure things out so that I can get back to that 100% again.
I like to set up on a nice hard flat surface like hardwood floors. I'll use a yoga mat though to kind of give myself a little bit of cushion, and also pinpoint my positioning of my feet or hands. I'll start with a warrior pose to kind of open up my hips for the more difficult positioning I'll do later on. Usually when I do these movements too, I will be spending longer periods of time in each one, between probably about 3 to 5 minutes. I'm not exactly sure what this position is called, but I think at one time it was something about like moving like a cat. Bending your back like a cat when you go up. So this is really nice on your lower back when you go down, and then when you come up it kind of like hits the upper part of your back, which is nice. I like to take this position a little bit further and get a good stretch on my hamstrings by pulling my body closer to my legs. This position is probably my favorite. It gets like a really good stretch on your glutes and also hip flexors. So I'll usually hold this one for long periods of time, and I will sometimes go back and forth a few times just to make sure that I've gotten a really good stretch on it. Sometimes I'll actually lean to the side a little bit more too if I want to get a further stretch on my glute. At this point, I moved to more exercises on my back, so that's why being on a hard, flat surface kind of comes in handy. I feel like the hard, flat surface will help when you're laying on your back, kind of wiggling a little bit and breaking up stuff that's like messed up. Stretching out my hamstrings again. This is pretty killer, so only pull as comfortable as you can. These side ones are really difficult for me. This side I'm actually okay on. I can kind of get pretty far down and pull my leg towards me. The other side is just, it hurts so bad when I can't even get it all the way. So I'm giving you fair warning. Do not go too far if it doesn't feel like it wants to get there. This is also one of my favorite positions because I have a bad back, and for me, when I do this and roll on my spine, and you can just feel it go all the way up and down your spine and crack little things, and it just opens up my back, and I will actually be sore sometimes too because of this position, but it just feels so good to get that stretch. Time to go to the gym. Time to go to the gym. And now for the fun part. This week I focused a lot on some pulley work. For this one, I was doing the straight bar and doing some lat pulls. I was trying to go for about 10 to 15 reps and doing slower motions on these. This one is the rope attachment, and I also did about the same 10 to 15 reps and slow movements. This one actually works more of the rear deltoid. I'm trying to focus on my shoulders more still. This and the lat pull, I will usually start at 60, but then go up to maybe 70 or 80. This exercise is also a rear deltoid shoulder exercise. So what I was kind of doing was 10 of these, 10 to 15, and then I would do one arm at a time, another 10 on each. This is a new movement for me, so I'm still kind of playing around with it. So, elevated lunges. I've been doing lunges because I've been taking a break from squatting, actually. But elevated lunges is something I have recently seen and decided to try it out as well. So, you basically take like a weight and you can step up on it, and you can go, I actually went up as high as 3 tiers. So the further you go up, the further it goes up your leg, kind of is how you can look at it. I actually started at 35 pounds and it was way too heavy. So I did have to drop my weight down to get the right weight for what I was doing. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more intense than just doing straight, flat lunges. I was never really into lunges before. I got hurt kind of, so like for me, I'm just like diving into it now, and I'm loving it. I feel like this movement is like the best thing right now for me.
Muscle poop. Muscles poop.